All right, live. Give a minute just for everybody to stream in. At least one person to join. 0 people. So they got one person watching. Nope, and they're gone. Ah, Dabaka, what's up? I just started up. I'm just goofing around in the shop tonight. I had a chance to talk to Yamez after the blacksmith's church this morning, and what I'm probably going to do is try to start doing more live streams, but I'm going to try to get a few other people. So, does it sound good? Works for me. I'm going to go ahead and just do a simple coal rake. Like, once again, I said, I'm just trying this out. I talked to Yamez, and I'm trying to get it set up so that a few of us on the weekends and stuff, when Yamez doesn't want to do his live stream, maybe we can set it up to where we'll all be on Island Metal. And each of us can, like stream a different week or something. So I'm playing with the camera and playing with, I still can't get the OBS to work correctly, or at least not with my other camera. And then I got it to actually recognize my camera and start to work, but my camera's got a setting on it, so it shuts itself off after like 20 minutes automatically, and I can't turn it off. So I'm just using the webcam. So I'm going to hammer this down just a little bit. When I make my coal rakes, I got the end, I just flatten the end out, widen it out a little bit, make a point, and put a bend in it. Then I can hook on my coal and drag it, or I can use it and poke down through it, break it apart if it's coked up over the top. Pretty simple project. Like I said, I'm going to stick with simple projects until I get used to doing it. So I set some down. Flatten it out. You see, I set down a section of that, flattened it out to about half the thickness or so, a little over 1/8 inch. Drew it out, put a point on it, and then just bend it around. Pretty simple. Yeah, and for these first few couple streams, I'm not on Island Metal Forge. It's just me, just getting used to the technology. I'm an old guy. I don't learn very fast. You see, went ahead and hammered the point on there. Flatten it out, straighten it out. Take another heat, bend that end around, and then the other end, we'll just put a nice, easy little loop on it so we can hang it up. Needs some coal. Oh, got coal in another location. I got about, I don't know, 15, I think, 50-pound bags over there now. I bought like a half a pallet when I bought it. Now we got that basic end shape for our coal rake. Like I said, I like this style because I can reach in, I can drag the coal around, I can take the point, I can punch down through if I got a bunch of coke that's in a hard clump on top. All right, so we'll flip the other end around. Just pretty simple, draw a taper, curl it around. This is going to be done pretty fast, so I might do something else after that. I did what is a river twist? What is a river twist? I've never heard that terminology used. And along my forge here, I got hooks that go all the way around. And I have 2 shovels, two pokers just to reach down and poke, clear it out. Two spoons for flux. And I only had 1 fork, so, or coal rake, so that's why we're making this one. We got a good taper going on it. We'll go ahead and round this section up so you can spin it around and make that handle. What else we got? Kevin, what's up, Trail Dust? I made a video of mine more than a year ago. Is it on YouTube? Debaka? Now you can see, went back, took that square and rounded a bunch of it up. Still got something to do at the tip. Still a little more heat. Oh, so it's where you twist it and then twist it the opposite and then twist it the opposite and just keep switching it. Like a trident style fork. I just wanted to smooth that up and fix that round up. Kind of a kind of a random pattern too. Gotcha. I'm not gonna bother on this. I mean, I'm just making it just to make something. And I'll probably just put a twist in it, but not twist the whole thing. I got a big stray spot just below that finial, and I don't like it. You see, I bent that around pretty easy, nothing fancy. It's just a coal rake. And like I said, I got like 2 of everything now. I've had in the past where new guys starting out, I'll just hand them a whole set. Just eat that up further back. I'm good with this. Just make sure nobody invites Ben. I don't know if I can stand that kind of heckling. So, Devaka, what are you on YouTube? Because I don't think I have you, or at least your page. Okay, Devaka Maker is your channel name. I'll have to go look it up. I mean, to be honest, guys, Steve from North Country Forge a few years ago, 2-3 years ago, actually was the one that told me all about Yamas. Before that, I really didn't watch a lot of YouTube blacksmiths. I mean, for no reason other than I just didn't. Pull this out, straighten it up a little. Got her hot and got a big blob right there. But it looks like it'll brush right off. Yeah. I don't know what that blob was because it wasn't the base metal. Because when I brushed it off, it doesn't even look burnt in that area. You can see, doesn't look centered just right. Yeah, there we go. And that's the whole thing. I mean, that was a pretty quick project, so we'll have to figure something else out to do. And it just gives me a second coal rake to hang on my front of my forge, because you guys can see it. I have tools hanging all along here on little hooks all the way around the whole forge. We got another one I could do that I've actually never made one. is a squirrel cooker. And I thought maybe I might do one of them. So I got 2 bars with 3/8 round, or yeah, 3/8 round stock. Put a bar in, start warming it up. I got this coal. As you guys can see, it's all the way down to dust. All the way up to, I dumped the bag out and there were some big ones in there. It's been raining for weeks. Hey, spear grass. Blacksmith says, what is this, some kind of a joke? Yeah, it's snowing outside here, but not very hard, just a light snow. Probably just get a dusting. It's I don't know, 70 degrees here in the forge. So it's I don't know, nature's dandruff. So I saw one where a guy made a squirrel cooker. He put a scarf on the end of the bar. So I saw one where a guy put this weird looking little scarf on the end of his bar and then flattened out a chunk. I thought he said 3 inches, but it just doesn't look like enough to me, so I'm going to flatten out a little bit more. And I can tell by the face of this anvil is about 3 inches wide. Yeah, 3. A little over 3 1/4. So we'll go take this to like 4 or something, and then we'll fold it over. All right. Let me put that back in the fire and figure out what's smoking over here. Yeah, a rag caught on fire. Turn it and cook something light without being. I've heard of a squirrel cooker, and I only saw them made once before during a competition. So everybody was in a hurry, and they didn't get very fancy. They just bent them around. The secret to this one kind of is making sure that them two notches that you made come together. Right there. And once you got that, welding them together. All right, so let's put that in there, bring it up to heat slow. Technically, Australia is an island. Yeah, squirrel cookers are kind of a, you don't ever hear of them up north where I'm at. You get down into the mountains and stuff, West Virginia on down, you start hearing stuff like that. Give it a little tap and then get it right back in the fire, warm it up. Sometimes when I'm welding, I like to drop down to a smaller hammer. It keeps you from driving it all out, pushing it. I mean, the camera makes it look way brighter than what it is. I'm going to open that up a little bit. I don't want to pop that weld either. So I'm going to clamp a device so it doesn't pop the weld. So you see, I opened it back up a little bit. Put it in there. Maybe if I get a piece of something that's about 3/8 or ½ inch wide, lay it in there and not crush it. That's going to burn on it. All right, hang on, guys. I got a burr on that piece, so I'm trying to put in there. Oh, well, bead.
Fun fact, apparently forged welding mild steel is harder than forged welding wrought.
Yes, yes, it is, and because the wrought has silica inclusions and stuff in it from the sand and minerals and stuff, so that silica is just like glass, and it provides that protective layer. Okay, you can see I opened that up for the pass-through. I've never made one of these before, so I'm winging it. Good time to do it on live video. Then you gotta, when it comes up, you gotta bend it over so that you can put your thing through and it'll hold it up. So I think you gotta bend it a little bit less than 90.
not have the desired effect.
See, it's bent over. So the other rod will go through and hang there. It looks like it's got to go a little bit more. Okay, went just a little bit too far. A little bit. That'll probably work. So that end, it's done. You can see where it was forge welded. I didn't blend it in real good, but it's stuck. I did all that manipulating on it, and it didn't pop open. So the other end just gets a point drawn down on the bar, so you can push it into the ground. And once again, the all the ones that I've seen before, they just put a loop on the end and just bend the loop over. They don't do that forge weld or make that little, it's just a loop and then they bend it over. All right, let me go over here so I can read my chat. I got a 12-inch chimney pipe, and that's natural. Move the bricks, you can see it a little better. So let me draw this end down to a point. wouldn't think that this point on be too fine a point, because when you push it into the ground, you don't want to bend it over. So drew the point down, got the other end. Now we can work on the fork that goes through it. The biggest thing is you just got to make sure the loop that you make when you make the fork fits through here. So set that off to the side to cool off. Go ahead and make the fork. I kind of stacked some loose blocks there just to keep my coal, when I rake it around, I don't want it to fall out and go all over the top. I can keep it right in the area of the fire pot that way. Just reduces the mass. Same thing with the back here. I just got a bunch of loose stacked bricks back there too. Yeah, I mean, if I wanted to make another one, I could probably make another one, not doing it live, take my time. Now I know that a couple of my dimensions were off. Go back and rewatch the video. Durability. Okay, so just flatten out a little bit on the end there. I didn't realize I was making this. Probably should get a handle cut. Get that out. Get a hold fast or two out. These hold fasts, I made these. I could do a video on them. That would be a good video, I guess. Alright, heater back up. Yeah, the hold fast, I just make mine out of old coil springs. And I don't even heat treat them. I just make them, let them cool. I don't whale them down and make them flex really hard anyway, because I mean, you just don't have to. I go about 80–90% of the way through, you know, over the face before I go to that step, and then just split it out the rest of the way. So this is, you know, just for like a camp thing, not real fancy. So I'm not going to worry about going down in at the bottom of the V and, you know, upsetting it a little bit and kind of rounding it all off, because it's not that big a deal for what it is. I mean, otherwise, I guess I could get a fuller and do some. Makes it look a little better. You just got to be careful doing that, otherwise you'll get a little pinch spot in that corner. It looks ugly. All right. Take another heat. Because I don't like to keep people waiting while they're watching. You'll see I just shovel the coal on. I haven't shut my air off yet. I'll use a little more coal, but it speeds things up. Don't cook the kawakas. Now, everybody, I know what you're thinking. You're going, oh man, that is black, and he's still hammering on it. But I'm not moving the material very much. And if you keep working it down into that black heat, that's where you smooth your work up and you take your hammer marks out. So that you'll get pretty smooth and consistent. Let me do the other side, and then we'll bend the forks and finish this squirrel cooker off. So far, so good. Yeah, and like I said, I do my hold fast out of coil springs. Usually just automotive coil springs. But we have coil springs and machines at work, so I have access to a lot of different size coil springs. So I make a lot of tooling out of coil springs. So now that I got them both drawn out, one's a little bit thicker than the other. That always happens to me when I cut it with the hot cut by hand, just eyeballing it. One side's just a little bit bigger than the other. If I'm taking my time, sometimes I'll draw it out the same, and then I'll just cut off whichever one's a little too long with the cutter. All right, let's get this end done. I'm a big fan of going to my vise and locking it in so that I can bend things in a controlled fashion. Sometimes it gets away from you doing it at the anvil. There's just a pretty utilitarian fork end. One part I was listening to was when the guy that made the one I saw made his, he said 24 inches long. And I thought, that's awful long for this fork. But then when I thought about it, it has to stick way over the fire, and you're going to want to put your rod outside the fire. So. All right, so like I said, I have access to 12 springs, anywhere from that to these, and a little bit bigger. But I don't have one of the real big ones here right now. So I'll make a lot of tooling right out of a piece of coil spring. I'll just grab a piece of coil spring, heat it up. Like this is just a little block that I made. I haven't even used it yet. I just made it so I can put it in my anvil in case I need a narrower spot than the face. So I can turn it that way or that way because it's rectangular. a scroll starter. You know, once again, just made out of a big chunk of coil spring. And my piece is burning up. Okay, and then like I said earlier, the biggest thing you got to do is make sure that when you do your ring on this end, it's small enough that it passes through that other end. Start drawing our taper down. I'll take another heat and make that longer. I didn't waste a bunch of time wire brushing it. Could have got more done. All we need now is a bic like that. It drops in. I mean, I made this, but I don't ever use it. My point goes down pretty small on my horn, so. And I don't have a bridge, but I am sure I can make one. And I didn't notice it until I started watching a video of myself, how much I dropped my hammer onto that anvil in between steps. Once I made the first video and watched it, I was like, holy cow, that's kind of annoying. But for me, it's just because I don't want to hold my hammer up. I'm not beating it off. I'm just setting it there, and it bounces a little bit. Hit it again. Hit it again, we'll round that up, then we'll form our hook and this project will be done. Or we'll form our ring to hang it. A chain maker's bic for hanging chain links to weld. Now, if I did a bunch of chains, maybe, but years ago I was the forge master for the New York State Designer Blacksmiths, which is our local chapter of Havana for New York State. And so I was in charge of coming up with something to demonstrate or projects for, you know, the local group here in the Syracuse area, because the New York State Designer Blacksmiths has 5 regions, you know, around the state, and I was in the central Mohawk region. It was called around the Syracuse area, but so you had new guys coming in and stuff, and you always had to make something. Well, the museum that we were demonstrating and using their blacksmith shop to hold our meetings and stuff needed a chain made. So we did a fun little thing where the new guys and the old guys were all to make chain one afternoon. But the old guys, you know, whoever prepped it handed it to the other guy, and you paired up a new guy with an old guy. And the guy that prepped it handed it off to one of the older guys to weld it and finish it. So it was a lot of fun because the older guys would spend a lot more, you know, I mean, not necessarily spend a lot more time, but they'd prep it and it'd be a much better fit and ready to weld. The newer guys, you know, and then they'd hand it to the new guy would weld it, and then the new guy would be handing them a messed up looking thing, and they'd have to try to weld that. So it was hard for everybody. It was just kind of fun. It stuck out in my mind as one of the fun things that I came up with for us to do in the group. So I got it started. Now I just got to kick it back and line it up. And then see if it fits through the other half. I needed a little bit. My little finial got on top of the bar. We did 3, you know, a group of 3, and then put them together. So it's 3 and 7. And then you take the 2 7s and you add them together. So you get 15. These butcher block brushes are the greatest thing ever. So you can see the loop, nothing fancy. Shut the air down. Come over here, see if my other half cooled. Yep, it did. And it fits through, so as long as that fits through, then you can hang your meat out there. The only problem I got is it's not aligned with the fork. So I'll heat it up and just twist it just enough to align it, and that'll be done. But has anybody had any questions? Are you getting glitches in the video? I might have to move my my computer to the other end of the building, because on this end I get like 4 bars on the internet, and over there I get all 5. About an hour. There, now they're in the same plane. And then you can turn it, slide it way in over the fire. Like I said, I've actually never made a squirrel cooker before. I don't really have much use for one. I don't live in the deep south down there where they pretty much eat anything that crawls out of the woods. My buddy used to go down to West Virginia and North Carolina a lot, hang out with blacksmiths down there. They had a saying, and it was that possum was the other white meat. So I have no idea what I'm going to do with this, but I wanted to make one, so I made one. Put it up on the fridge for now. Bush cat guy, lunch at once. Cool. All right, and I think I'm just going to, that was about an hour. Gonna put some tools away. See what you guys are saying. Maybe join in the chat for a minute.
the rake.
Oh, everybody must have hit the like because I got 5 likes and only 3 watchers. So I don't know who. Oh, Kevin liked on 2 channels. I don't know. Let me get my self-assurer out here. So like I said, I'm playing around with the software and playing with the videos, and you know, all of this part of it's new to me. So these guys said the video was a little glitchy. Let me shut that fan off. Buffered for a second or two. I don't know, Speargrass. My shop's pretty messy. I mean, I got a lot of junk that is kind of out of the frame, and especially hidden behind the camera. It looks like an episode of Hoarders back there. All right, so hopefully that's just some internet lag. And when I go to the OBS and start using a second camera, because I'm going to just buy another one of the cameras that I got right here. I mean, it's not a bad camera. The picture quality is all right. It's just a webcam. And I got a... I got a DSLR camera too that I was trying to get to work, but it has... I guess I got pretty much everything to work, and it worked pretty decently. The only problem is it has a shut-off timer on it, and you can't shut it off. So I can set it to like 25 minutes, and then after 25 minutes, it just shuts itself off. So in order to make it easier, I think I'm just going to get a second webcam, and I'm going to have this one pretty much in this view, and then put another one that's really close and zoomed on my anvil. Jealous of the 2 vices. Adam, this one here, okay, this one I've had for, probably almost 20 years. It's a good vise. It's mounted on a piece of about 18-inch square, 2.5-inch thick steel plate with some 4-inch square tube coming up. So it's mounted on a good sturdy stand, but at the same time, I can grab it and move it around and push it in and out of my way and walk it around. And then recently, I bought this one, and this one is, well, you can see it's a heavier one, and it's shorter because it's made to have more beating on it, and this one's made to have some light beating and mainly more for filing. But it will take some, you know, some hammering on. It's not that wimpy, but this one you can see is shorter, and it is a lot heavier than that one. If I pick it up, you'll see how short the leg is on the bottom of it, and it wasn't cut off. But that vise weighs, I want to say easily 110 pounds probably. And usually what I'll do on something like that, I probably won't ever use that vise, to be honest with you. I know that, like, when Sully was looking for one 2 years ago, I brought it to Quad State and sold it to him for what I paid for it. And I think I paid like $50 for it. Matter of fact, I never got paid for that, so I gave it to him. No big deal. And, or her, whatever. But, the, Shane Lalonde this year at Quad State had told Kevin that he was going to be there. You know, he wasn't going to be there till pretty late, and told Kevin to keep his eye out for a post vise. And I sent him a private message and asked him. I said, "Are you looking for one? I've got one that's pretty much just missing the bolt that goes through the pivot, and you know, it had a regular bolt through it instead of the old-fashioned square-headed, you know, forged one." And I ended up selling that to him for like $25 because that's what I paid for it. Yeah, I think 110 is probably about 55 kilograms. It's about 2 kilograms to a, or 2 pounds to a kilogram, right? Now I got this press here that's got an air over hydraulic cylinder on it, but I really only ever use it like when I made this hammer and I was doing them big fullers. I did them right here on the press. So I got a couple different dies. Yep, poor vise. I ruined it. Nobody's going to want it now. Where are you located, Crawford? Oh, shit, Indiana. Nah, that's in the middle of the country. The shipping would kill you from New York. But no, this one, I want to say I paid $50 for it. Of course, I'd probably have to mark it up to $75 because, you know, this one's heavier and I got to haul it somewhere. I ain't doing that for free. But yeah, I don't mark them up. I don't try to play that game. I keep stuff, you know, close to the price I paid for it. Two hours away from Quad State. That's a lot closer than I am. I'm about 9 hours from Quad State. But like I said, this one's so heavy that if I put it in my car and haul it all the way to Ohio, I'm going to want, you know, an extra $25 or something. Fahrenheit confuses you. Yeah. I don't think it got damaged when it tipped over. It hit my forge and that softened the fall. Banged right into my clinker breaker handle. I don't know, Speargrass, how far is Yamas from Quad State. I know that him and Alexis carpool, and he said it a few times, and I can't remember how far it is. Oh man, I gotta go turn this thermostat down a little bit. I am sweating in here. With the forge going and stuff, it was about 75 degrees. Hour west of John. Oh, 3 hours ain't bad though. I mean, 3 hours away, you could almost drive to Quad State and then make a day trip out of it. So, what do you guys think? Next, you want to do a hold fast next time I do a demo, or not interested? Oh, that's Texas, yeah. Yeah, I can do a hold fast. They're pretty easy, pretty simple. I mean, they take a little bit to do because of the spring steel. It's, you know, a little harder to work than mild steel. You gotta hammer it. When I get to the shank part, I might even just go over and use the power hammer. Because I don't know if everybody here has seen the power hammer yet. Back there, I got a homemade power hammer. And it's got a leaf spring, and my tire is on the back side of it instead of on the front, with a shaft along the top and then an eccentric on the front. So I got an eccentric there, my tire is way back there, and then I've got a bow spring or a leaf spring that I re-arched into a sharp bow. You know, I mean, it's not the most controllable hammer. I have run a couple that had more control, but it's not horrible. I can find a piece of plywood or something. from 1/2 to 1/4 inch plywood. And it's got about 100-pound weight. What do you mean the other style, Adam? Do you just do yours without putting the sharp 90-degree bend in it? Because I got that style where it's just bent. And then this style where I actually upset it all into the corner. There's 3. I got a little shorty one. Because, I don't know, I started making it out of a scrap piece of spring and it was just a little too short. I mean, still works. You know, it's not going to clamp down on anything more than about 2 inches. King curve style, not the 90. Yeah, not the 90. So yours just comes up, has the big sweeping bend, and comes down. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever made one that style. Tell you the truth. I don't know why. I just don't think I have. Put my drink in the freezer and it froze up. That's why I'm not drinking it. Or at least not very fast. See, I've actually got my computer screen is up there on the TV back there. But I wish I had one over in this area, because if I'm standing here, I have to walk over there to read it. Yeah, and I honestly don't know why I've never done the other style. I think just the first one I did the upset 90, and I've always done a sharp 90 there anyway, whether I upset it or not. And I've made some that I gave away for like ironing the hats for my club and, you know, different groups and stuff. You know, you do something like that, or we could do like a scroll sample. As you guys know, I kind of like my scrolls. $100,000 jigs. But yeah, I'm just trying to come up with ideas for what everybody'd like to see. And like I said, probably the next time I get on, I'll probably just do one of the hold fasts. Gotcha, Adam. Yeah, and like I said, I don't think I've ever made that kind. I just never have. Maybe Maybe I will. Maybe I don't know if they're gonna hold down or lock down different or better or worse. I mean, I've never used one or made one, so I got really nothing to compare it to. I just know that that's the way I've always made mine, with the sharp corner. And then the nice round foot on it. But yeah, when you put them in, that's 100 and well, right around 100 pounds, that animal. So, I mean, it ain't letting go until you tell it to. Then the other day, I don't do very much welding anymore. So the other day we had a new welder start, and I had to train him. So I had to sit down and practice. You can see I did a big wide weave down here, but up here is all stringers, and it's hard to get the light on it, but that's pretty decent. Yeah, at work for years we didn't have any welders positions, so just us mechanics were the welders. So if anything needed to be welded, well, I was a pretty decent welder, and so every time I'd go in, they'd have something sitting there waiting for me. Yeah, and I put that one down, but I was doing a bunch of verticals. That's that big wide weave was vertical. So, but I left maintenance about 7 years ago, so I don't really weld hardly at all anymore. And I was like, they're like, oh, here, you got to help train this guy. And I was like, geez, I was rusty and had to come home and sit down and do a little practicing. All right, guys, on that, I'm going to head out, shut this down and head out. And maybe I'll see you guys next weekend or whenever. I told Yamez that probably next time I get ready to do a live stream, the next time I get ready to do one, I'll probably go ahead and schedule it, and then post a link to it in the Sunday Blacksmith Church, so that anybody that wants to waste an hour or so watching me goof off will know about it. But all right, guys, I'm headed out. End stream.